Ow! This is going to go on my list of monumentally bad ideas. Right, I gotta do this quickly because it looks like it's about to rain, but I'm gonna enjoy this one and I think you are too. This is gonna be a proper history, mystery, adventure with a little hint of conspiracy and probably quite a lot of terrible weather, because I have plotted a route up into those hills using maps that are up to 200 years old, and along that route I found, or I hope that I'm going to find, an abandoned coal mine, a forgotten about 3,000-year-old fort, there's old abandoned homes, and then most significantly a 5,000-year-old monument that possibly could have been the site of human sacrifice, or, thanks to something I just discovered this morning, possibly is a little bit of a conspiracy around it, and it's actually been fooling historians for centuries. And I'm gonna go camping, so this video has got a little bit of something for everybody. And I've got a new camping gadget to show you. So, let's go have an adventure. Oh yeah, and I'm currently in training for a mountain marathon, so I'm going to be running as much of this as possible. But I'm in Glen Arm, and Glen Arm is a little seaside village in Northern Ireland, probably most well known for a very impressive castle. Those are the castle walls heading in both directions, and there are still people living there to this day. Ugh. I've never played Nick Knock in a castle before. The castle estate is actually a client of mine. I've been doing video work for them for years, so I don't know why I'm running. And if you're ever here and you get a chance, the castle grounds are well worth a visit. We're leaving the village now, up this very steep hill, which is part of the Ulster Way, or the International Appalachian Trail. So if you're one of my friends from across the pond, you might not be aware that yes, the Appalachian Trail extends all the way over into Ireland and through Donegal and then into Northern Ireland. So my interest in old maps came about after my hiking mapping app that I use called Hiker, which, by the way, if you want a really good app for planning adventures, Hiker's really good, and I can get a really big discount off it for you if you use the link down in the description. But they introduced a feature where they're overlaying old maps. I'm talking maps up to nearly 200 years old. It was using those maps on that app that made me realise there's lots of stuff along this route that I've been on before that I wasn't aware was here. Great views down to the sea. By the way, if you've never had a chance to explore the Antrim coast, you got to do it. It's a beautiful stretch of coastline, but we're coming up on our first point of interest, and that is the abandoned coal mine, and apparently it's right in here. Here, coal mine. Here, coal mine. Ooh, free food. Ugh. It's nice, but there's some dead flies on the other side of that. Ooh, there's a very obvious rock face up there. What's that? Well, that's encouraging. This is all that's left of the last person who came in here. Ooh, that smells funny. Well, this is somewhat disappointing. I can see there's sort of a rock face over there, and I'm wondering is there's going to be some kind of entrance or something over there. But to get to it, I'm going to have to fight through a lot of brambles. I should probably just leave. Yeah, I'm in shorts. It'd be absolutely idiotic to try and go through there. Ow! I'm getting stung. Ow! This is going to go on my list of monumentally bad ideas. Stung to bits. I'm stung to bits. Well, there's the rock face. I see zero signs of openings or mine shafts. I've got my legs stung for absolutely nothing. But the real reason I came in this lane is because further on up here is hopefully where I'm going to find a 3,000-year-old fort. Because if you look on the map, you can see it indicate it. And then if you go to Google Maps, you can see this very, very, very faint outline. The problem is, this is the route I need to take. I was gonna wear hiking trousers. It's September, Stephen. It's cold, there's brambles. Where are your hiking trousers? No, I'm training for a race. I'll wear my shorts so I can run. I should probably point out that this is not part of the official Antrim Hills way. I've gone slightly off route. Finally, the gate. Here I am on the map, way up ahead. Look, the fort. This is the new Harrier Exmoor Pro jacket. Well, actually, it's a prototype of the jacket. It's not the final colours. So I have it for testing, and it's raining, so might as well put it on. And going back this way, there's quite a big bull up there. I'm gonna hug the other fence instead. I'm not super scared of cows, but I am very cautious around them. They kill more people than sharks. Oh, I can see it. I can see the outline. And also I can see there's an escape route if I need to jump over the fence. Do you see it? Okay, it's not quite, you probably can't see anything on this camera. Oh, I wish I brought a drone with me, but it's too windy today. From one side to the other, it must be 30 meters across maybe. Whoever lived here would have had a commanding view, not just of quite a lot of the hillside around them, but right down to the coast, and importantly, even right across to Scotland. You can see part of the stone wall. It's all overgrown now, but the stones are underneath. The reason these forts disappeared was they often got used, taken to pieces to build dry stone walls. Now this kind of fort wouldn't have had a roof on it. It would have been a strong wall, and then the inside of that wall, you would have had like shelters and tents and things like that. It was more of like a protective circle. It would keep the wind out. There'd be one entrance, so if you're getting attacked, you know, people could only be funneled through. I'm not gonna hang around just in case the cows come after me or the farmer. So let's get out of here. I hate banana skins. Oh. I thought I caught it on the telegraph wires for a second. There we go. It's this way. I actually took some of the photography on these boards. That photograph, that's one of my photographs. I took that about 5 years ago. That's kind of cool. Well, that was weird. The police just drove up, turned, looked at me, and drove off. Did the farmer spot me? Call the police, saying it looked like I was up to no good. The police come up and just saw me and thought, well, it's obviously a hiker, and turned and left. Don't know. These marker posts are how you know you're going the right way, but they've got a little hidden secret, because if you pull this, oh, that's got a bit stiff. It's got little bits of information. Up onto the open hills. Oh no. I've just noticed my brand new microphone has fallen off. I got the new DJI Mic Mini, and it now uses a magnet instead of a clip. I was slightly worried about it. I said that. People message me and say, oh no, the magnet's fine, the magnet will do the job. And it's gone. If I can't find that, that's like 60, 70 quid I've just lost. Oh, there it is! Oh! Can't believe that actually worked. Hi, sheep! Right, the next thing we're trying to find up here is, I saw on the map, the old maps, what looks like an old farm dwelling, and I kind of thought there's no way that's still going to be here 200 years later. But I checked the same location on Google Maps, and it looks like there's something still there. Look, there's something over there I just gotta get. When I was about, can't actually remember what age I was, maybe around 14, I had a very nasty barbed wire related incident where I ripped my neck open on barbed wire and shredded my earlobe in half. Look at that! On a map from 200 years ago. Well, 196 years ago, but who's gonna quibble over 4 years? And it's still here. And once again, this is all that's left because these rocks, oh, I'm about to get absolutely drenched by this rain. These rocks would have been taken and used to build the walls nearby. I'm okay. On the map there was a spring, freshwater spring marked up here somewhere. I want to go and see if I can find that. See the lines? See those humps? Those are potato beds. They're barely visible, you can just sort of see the bumps of the old potato beds. That's cool. No way, look at this. The spring's still here. I mean, I suppose it makes sense. Why would a spring disappear? I've found 2 out of 3 things so far, so I'm pretty pleased with that. This is Black Hill, and this is about as high as I'm going to get today. I came from all the way down there. Woo! Let's get out of this wind. Jump, jump. There's the sea again. Right, I've ducked down here out of the wind for a second to issue a disclaimer because the next object you're about to see, well, there are some very silly and immature people think it's a little bit rude, but the fact is, it's a historical monument, it's got value, it's worth talking about, and that's what we're going to do. And we're going to be sensible and mature adults about it because in all honesty, it's really not that funny. This is the Ballygilbert standing stone, and this thing has been here for potentially 5,000 years or more. It's Neolithic, it's prehistory. It is a standing stone, or another word for a standing stone is a menhir. And if you're a fan of the Asterix and Obelix comics, you might be familiar with that term because you remember Obelix, the big fat one with the stripy trousers. His job was carving and delivering menhirs, delivering standing stones, and they probably had all kinds of purposes, and nobody really knows exactly what this would have been used for, but there are a few theories, including some of my own. This thing is visible from miles around, and probably originally it was much bigger. It's probably suffered from a bit of shrinkage over the years due to the cold of winter, and the winds and the rain battering it have probably eroded it. It might have looked different when it was first put here. So as a highly visible object, it might have been a territorial marker. This might have been the point at which one person's land finished and another person's began. So somebody coming from the opposite direction who didn't belong over here would look at this and the rock would yell at them, "You shall not pass!" It also could have been a focal point for ceremonies or rituals, potentially even human sacrifice. Maybe even some poor sod was dragged up here, stabbed in the heart, beating heart, pulled out of their chest and set up on the rock while everybody else danced around like crazy. Human sacrifice did happen in parts of Ireland. There is some evidence for it. Some people think it might just have been a commemorative rock. Maybe there was some kind of battle up here, they put it in the ground, and there was originally a plaque on it that said something like, "At this spot, High King Rory of Ballygilbert did smite
gem of Larne. It's thought that some standing stones might actually be used for tracking celestial events, like tracking the alignments of stars, of lunar phases, things like that. My slightly out there theory about this rock is actually that it has no significance whatsoever and was simply put here by some Neolithic teenage boys who thought it would be hilarious. Now you might laugh at that, but it's led me to a bit of a strange discovery that's making me question this rock. How do they know that that's been there for so long? And I went and checked the maps again, and that's when I discovered something really, really surprising. And we'll talk about that once I find some shelter, because I'm starting to get quite cold up here. Right, I've got some water slowly boiling there. I was starting to get cold. You can see my breath in the air. Gives you an idea of what the temperature's like now. I think I'm now at the time of year where this might be my last ultralight camp of the year, and I hope I'm going to be warm enough tonight. But I want to show you this. This is the Aero Go-Go camping pump. This weighs 1 ounce. It is tiny. All you do is you plug it into your phone. Watch this. You don't remember to charge it up. You don't need to remember to bring batteries with you. You're probably always going to have your phone with you. Plug it in and off you go. And it uses very, very little energy. Like, I've got 50% battery here. So I'm going to attach this to my mat and see how much battery I have left once this is inflated. I really don't have much more to say about this. It's ridiculously lightweight. It works really well. I don't have to charge it. I don't have to worry about batteries, because I just plug it into my phone, and that used, I'm down to 44%, so I used about 6% of my battery, which is very, very little. And if you're worried about it draining your phone, well, you can power it off a power bank or anything like that. So yeah, I'm really impressed that I've become a bit of a gram counter for summer. The Aero Go-Go Giga Pump Air. If you want to get one of these, there's a link down in the description. And thanks very much to Aero Go-Go for sponsoring this video. And that was well timed, because my water is now boiled. Little trick with these: fold it over at the level you're going to fill it to, and chew on it, and then that will give you a really obvious crease on the inside, so you get your water level perfect every time. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I don't drink caffeine, at least not anymore. And it's simply because caffeine really, really messes with me. It really messes up my sleep. It gives me like jitters and anxiety. It has a really, really strong effect on me. When I have caffeine, I'm almost euphoric. And I get really bad headaches and mood swings, and it makes me feel like depressed a couple of days. Yeah, it's not good. Instead, I've got some very exciting chamomile tea. I am genuinely slightly concerned that I'm going to be cold tonight, because I do just have my ultralight gear, but I've got a couple of hacks that help add quite a bit of warmth. I've got a pair of down trousers on. My ultimate sleep hack for warmth: sticky heat pad. These are designed for people who've got back pain. Open it up, there's a chemical reaction, and it gives off heat for 12 hours. I just stick it on the outside of my bottom base layer. Don't stick it straight to your skin. Right, let me get a warm drink and some warm food into me, and then we'll have a chat about the conspiracy I may or may not have uncovered about the Ballygilbert standing stone. Ah! Ah! That's been sitting for 10 minutes and it's still scalding hot. Ah! I really like it when I have a head torch that has a red light, because one, it lets me look like some sort of creepy creature of the night. On the other hand, if you want to go hiking in the dark, just by moonlight and not lose your night vision, red light is the way to go. So I sometimes use red light to preserve my night vision. And from a distance at night, kind of makes me look like a Cylon. And finally we have the conspiracy, and that is that maybe the rock was put there by Bill Gates. No, I'm just joking. That's not it. No, the standing stone is not listed on the oldest map, but it is on the next edition of the maps, which from 1838, I think. So why is it not on the earlier map? Now you might say, well, maybe they just weren't putting items of historical interest on the map. But that fort that we saw earlier, that fort that's barely visible, that you would barely know what it is, that's on the map. And it's a lot less obvious than the standing stone. So why was the standing stone left off the map? My conspiracy is that maybe it's not a really old rock that's been there for a very long time at all. Maybe just the landowner found a really weird shaped rock one day and thought, you know, it'll be funny to set this up, stick it in the hillside, people to look at. It might mark the end of my land, or people might just find it interesting. And I kind of thought, well, that's a bit ridiculous. But then thinking about it more, I've realised you've actually no way of proving that's not the case. At least I can't think how you would do it. There's no record of it. How would you know? I mean, you might say they're going to know, but how would you know? They're going to know. How would you know? And then people have been giving meaning to a meaningless rock ever since. And that's kind of funny, but I guess we'll never know. Well, that was a horrible night. For two reasons. I was warm enough, and it was quiet enough here. I was out of the wind, or at least I thought I was out of the wind, but every 10 minutes, a big gust would come in, and the entire tent would go, ah! The surface would vibrate, and a fine layer of condensation spray would come down and hit me on the face. So, boom, wake me up, and then spray me in the face. And yet, that was not the thing that kept me awake the most, because, you know, I could cover my face and get myself wrapped up. But what was much worse than that was, as soon as I turned the light off, put my head down and go to sleep, my legs started to tingle from the nettle stings. Ow! And it got more and more and more intense as I got nice and warmed up in my sleeping bag, until my legs were just a tingling fire of irritating misery, and it was like that the entire night. And I think my body was in adrenaline got released, because I could not sleep. I was wide awake. I was like this, and it wasn't super painful, but it was incredibly irritating all night. And for hours and hours, it wasn't until 4 a.m. that everything finally settled down. I had about 2 hours sleep. I'm not thrilled, but that's been my worst night's sleep camping in a long time. A little bonus for those of you who watched to this length in the video is that, just letting you know, I'm doing a giveaway over on my Patreon. I'm giving away a pile of camping equipment in 3 different bundles. So you've got at least 3 chances to win something. That's to my paid patrons only, and it's going to go out in September. So, if you want to go and sign up and be a patron just for 1 month, just to enter the giveaway, that's totally fine. The first giveaway email is going to be going out next week, so you might want to be signed up for them. But I'm leaving this video here. I'm going to go because I got 7 miles downhill, going back the way I came. You've already seen it, you don't need to see it again. But let me know if you enjoyed this type of video, a little bit of history, mystery, fun, hiking, scratchy. Actually, forget the nettles. No nettles, I'm not doing that again, that was absolutely horrible. But let me know if you enjoyed it. And next video you're going to catch me on will be in Scotland, I think. So thanks for, so I'll see you then. Bye. Right you are, right, bye.